let's look at some of these other competitions, although I really don't think these other ones are as open.
That's right. Let's unpack it. Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's start with the Panthers. Andy Dalton versus Bryce Young. The moment that Frank Reich said they're going to split reps, but Bryce is going to end up getting more of them, that's when I knew it's going to be Bryce Young week 1.
I mean, I would expect it to be. I don't know if any of these are real competitions. I think this may be one where I look at and go, if they want to be careful, maybe this is one where Andy Dalton at least starts the year. I can maybe look at it that way as they continue to, formulate an offense around Bryce Young. But I'm like you when it's really he's the first pick. He's supposed to beat out Andy Dalton. And I would think he's supposed to have, this great mind and ability to process. I would expect him to be the starting quarterback week 1 too, Mike. I'm with you.
And it reminds me of that graphic we had earlier with the NFC North champion odds and the Panthers at 30-1. I kind of like that because if Bryce Young is the guy that they think he's going to be, they've already got the defense.
Yeah.
They could be one of those teams that just kind of puts it together and gets better as they go if Young is the guy they think he's going to be. And that's where the politics come into play as well. You've got an owner who really wanted Bryce Young, apparently.
Yeah.
I find it hard to think they're going to start the season with anyone other than Bryce Young. They need to prove they did the right thing by making Young the first overall pick. And if he doesn't start week 1, you're already admitting that maybe you didn't pick the right guy because C.J. Stroud, let's move on to that one.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud versus Davis Mills. Texans.
Come on.
Again,
Come on.
I don't know how much of a competition this is. I think it's C.J. Stroud already. Right. If they were playing a game this weekend, it would be C.J. Stroud.
I think C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's one of these guys that's got a little buzz right now. You read down, you look at some of the local headlines down there and some of the things that's being said. He's impressing people, for sure, physically, and it sounds like his, hunger for the game and all that is impressing people as well. But I'm with you. They know what Davis Mills is. C.J. Stroud is just a better version of Davis Mills. He's the same size with a better athlete, a way bigger arm, and I from all due accounts, I'm with you. It sounds like if they had to play a game next week, he'd already be the starter. I don't think this one will even be close. This will be day 1 training camp, C.J. Stroud, preseason, take your lumps. We'll manage you. We're going to play defense and run the ball, but you're the starting quarterback, and you're going to play football this year. I don't even think that'll be a question. Right.
Get him ready.
Right.
And there was a clip that someone sent to me this weekend, and I didn't write anything about it. I don't want to make too big of a deal of it, but there was a practice session, and there was a back and forth between head coach DeMeco Ryans and C.J. Stroud about offensive and defensive coaches and what's their agenda, and it just reminded me of what Alex Smith said recently. You've got a young quarterback who's being developed with a defensive head coach, and all the more reason to use your full offensive staff capacity to get this guy ready. No splitting reps. No. We got to focus all of our efforts on getting C.J. Stroud ready to go week 1 and beyond because we don't have that offensive head coach who can even help boost things on the fly. We got to have our plan, and we have to implement it from day 1. And I don't know how aware they are of that, but it is a reality. You've got one less offensive brain in the building when you have a defensive head coach.
Yeah, you're right about that. But hopefully they'll realize, as I'm coming from Shanahan and an offensive coach, what you need to do to, try to make a quarterback successful and develop it and make the offense the right way. And I think that's where, hey, this could work because DeMeco Ryans, I think for the most part, he's going to handle defense and he's going to trust, hey, Bobby Slowick, you got it on the other side and you handle the offense. And every now and then I might just get in there and say, hey, run it or punt it or, throw the screen here or whatever else. But I would think he's going to give him the keys to the car as far as develop this quarterback and do what you need to do to make this guy the guy we want him to be.
In Indianapolis, it's Gardner Minshew versus Anthony Richardson. And remember a couple of years ago when Urban Meyer was the first-year coach of the Jaguars and actually tried to create a competition between Gardner Minshew and Trevor Lawrence and then gave Minshew away for a 6th-round pick, which tells you it was all baloney. Now, look, we both like Gardner Minshew, and I'm surprised he didn't get gobbled up to be a starter somewhere or at least given an opportunity to do it. They're all in with Anthony Richardson. They see superstar potential in Anthony Richardson. He needs to play football, and they're going to design an offense that suits his strengths, covers up any weaknesses he has while he's kind of a work in progress. This is another one, Chris, where you can call it a competition, but the Colts, and with Jim Irsay wants that new toy out there. I've been waiting for an answer at quarterback, and the answer is not Gardner Minshew. It's the guy we drafted 4th overall that we would have taken 1st overall if we had the 1st overall pick.
Yeah. I don't think there's a situation where it's Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes this year. I don't think there's anything like that. Like I said, I think the Andy Dalton one, that's the only one I could see where maybe he's the starter for a few weeks. Maybe Frank Reich and company, well, let's just get the team situated before we throw Bryce Young. And Andy Dalton's still a pretty damn good player. The rest of these guys, hey, good players, but, backups. That's what they are. They're really good backups. And you said it, right? I mean, Richardson's the man physically. He's such the man physically that they can find ways to hide some of his faults as a player. And like we talked about in the draft process, right, Mike? You don't want to go down Trey Lanceville here. You don't want to go down there. Hasn't played a lot of football already. Now we're going to sit him on the bench to not play football more, to make it harder for when he has to jump out there and play football again. That's where it doesn't make sense. He's a guy you got to plug and play right now, and I think they know that. And like you said, I think he's opening up eyes, and they're gonna make it happen.
And the other difference too, because you mentioned the Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes transition, there's no equity for any of these veteran options.
Right.
Minshew and Dalton weren't on their teams last year.
That's right. They're not
Davis
playoff
Mills
teams.
has only been a 1-year starter. Yeah,
Right.
this isn't we're gonna do right by the incumbent because he's taken us to the playoffs multiple years and he's done everything we can ask of him. We're just making the strategic decision and the awareness and just basic reality. He's taken us as far as he can. And if we want to be a Super Bowl team, we need somebody else, but we're still going to give him that one more year while we get our secret weapon ready to go. That's not the case in any of these 3 cities. So I think it's going to be all 3 of them. I really do.
I agree.
And if it's the fact that Stroud and Richardson are on track to start week 1 makes it even more likely that if David Tepper needs to put a thumb on the scale toward Bryce Young, I think he will. And of course, they'll never say that, oh, we don't make those decisions. Okay. Sure you don't. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.